Lightning like Steve McQueen. I'm in the fast lane when the light turns green. And I built tough, I ain't nothing but grit. Cause I made rugged blood, sweat, and spit. Yeah, like a horse I fly. Better push yourself in for a bumpy ride. I like to play hard, but I work harder. And I weather the storm cause I'm built stronger.
What is up, ladies and gentlemen? We are back. We are live. It is the Freight Coach Morning Show, the top morning show in transportation, coming to you guys every single weekday, 8:30 a.m. Pacific, 10:30 Central, to break down some industry headlines and to provide some actual insight into what we can do with all of this information. As always, you guys, it's why I proudly fly the American flag behind me. Not only because we are the greatest fucking nation on earth, but I'm living my American dream, and I want to help each and every one of you guys live your American dream. You'll never hear me advocate for people to sell their businesses and give up because, you know, it's going to be bad out there and everything else, like other people do. You know, there seems to be a narrative that if, you know, to exit on top, get out, quit, you know, you'll never see that with me. I guess I'm out here fighting every single day to live out my dreams and everything. And I just would never, ever, ever advocate for somebody to go out of business under any circumstances at all. Not saying that things are easy, not saying that things are not going to be tough at times, but I've just never understood the, you know, at least not recently, you know, giving up and everything else. You got to fight for this shit. You have to work very hard for this. You know, I was out in Nashville, Tennessee this last weekend. First time in Nashville, phenomenal city as a whole. To all my viewers and listeners out there who live in Nashville, great town, great time as a whole. And, you know, we were out here. I was out there for the RTA Syndicate. It's a group of, it's an entrepreneur group that I'm involved in. And I am very, very blessed to be a part of that group and to learn from guys by like Andy Frisella and Ed Milet and all the principles and stuff that they teach in that group. And then the network of individuals that I have met inside of there. It was just phenomenal. And, you know, we were talking about everything that's going on in the world and everything with the economy and like how much uncertainty there can be. But the fact of the matter is you just can't fucking quit under any circumstances. You cannot quit. That's the only way you will ever lose. That's the only way you will ever lose is if you quit. And, you know, and then furthermore, going out and checking out some of the live bands out on Broadway Street, I think it's called, in Nashville. And, you know, I was talking with the people that we were with, and it's like, what really is the separator that's out there? Because, you know, you look at the massive superstars within business or sports or music in particular of what we're doing. Like, what is the great separator? Because like they were all good. All the bands were good that we were listening to. You know, they all had their own unique way. They were all engaging. What separates that? Like, how does it, like, what gets you noticed? And my honest to God philosophy, my honest to God thoughts are the only thing that separates the Jason Aldeans from the world and the people who are playing at that bar and like who gets noticed and everything out there is when they got beat down, when they got told no 100 times from 100 different record labels, they still went out that day and performed at that local bar or that local establishment, or they took that meeting with somebody no matter what. And for me, that's what it is. That's the great separator. And it's the same thing in business. It's the same thing in sales is when you get told no 175 times, that next conversation is going to be a yes. And you'll never know unless you put that effort out there. So it was, you know, at the end of it, it was a great time out in Nashville. Again, being a member of the RTA Syndicate, I'm very, very fortunate to learn from that group of individuals. And but before we get into the show, got a couple of articles to break down, and then it's a solo show today. So I'll be doing a little market insight on a couple of lanes that are out there. But before we do that, I got to give a shout out to my friends over at VHub. You guys, vhubapp.com. Doesn't matter if you're a broker, carrier, or shipper alike. We all need access to trailers. We all need them at some point in time. And frankly, right now with the rising costs of literally everything, this is a great way for you to make some additional money out there. So if you're a small fleet, you should never have to shut your business down because your trailer's in the shop. And with you getting paid to do this, what they're working on, Paragould, Arkansas, going over to Orting, Washington, you get paid $15.50 to move that trailer. That's on top of the revenue that you can get by loading out that truck. And they also have San Diego, California going to Selma, Texas for $1,500. And then they also have San Diego going to Millbury, Ohio for $600. And then for all my friends up there in Canada, Milton, Ontario to Montreal, Quebec, 250 Canadian to do that. So hit them up, you guys, vhubapp.com. And my friends Xavier Campos and Stacy Steen, they'll be in the audience and they can help you out with anything. April, good morning. Thank you for joining out here. Julia, what's up? Good fucking Monday morning. Let's go. Drew Driscoll, let's get after it. You're right, man. It's a good week. It's, it's always an opportunity. Let me see here. We're at day 151 of the Freight Coach Tally, which is insane. It's 151 live shows that we've done. And here's, cheers to 5,000 more because we're not stopping no matter what. But it's also that little subtle reminder out there, you guys, about some of those core fundamental issues in this industry about, our drivers not having access to facilities, food, showers, bathrooms, stuff like that. So we got to continue to talk about this every single day, no matter what. And until this stuff is fixed, because I'm not doing this for vanity metrics, you guys. I'm out here to literally change the industry because that's what's going to happen. I'm going to be the motherfucker that changes the trucking industry for the good, for the long term. Also, a subtle reminder that diesel is $5.31 a gallon nationwide right now, up $1.60. With that being said, I do get that information from the EIA, you guys, EIA.gov. If you're not happy with that price, vote tomorrow. All right. If you're not happy with everything, with inflation, rising prices, grocery bills, inflation, all that shit, vote tomorrow. All right. Get out there and vote. I'm not going to tell you who to vote for or what to vote for, but get out there and vote. And if you're not happy with the way things are right now, you know who to vote for. That's what I'm doing tomorrow. I'll be out there. I'm going to be voting. I'm going to be exercising my right as an American. So I would highly recommend you guys get out there and vote tomorrow if you are not happy with the current economic conditions of this country or anything at all. Cody Miller, good fucking morning to you, sir. Pat Green, good morning and happy Monday. Let's fucking go. You are right. Bruce Staton, good morning to you. All right. Let's get into let's do the market thing first. Sorry, it's a solo show. We're going to do the market. Let me see here. Got to get this up right now. All right. We are going to pull up outbound Des Moines, Iowa reefer. To all my friends out there in Iowa, shout out to River City Logistics. They're in Iowa. Des Moines market reefer, very tight capacity. We are sitting at 3,300 loads to 4,300 trucks. So yeah, that is going to definitely be on the lookout. If you have a truck in the Des Moines market right now, your rate might be affected by that. And then also if you're going into Charlotte, North Carolina, by chance, there is a neutral market out there. There's 2,900 loads to 6,000 trucks. And then let's switch them around, do a little outbound. So if you're inbound, Des Moines, Iowa, loose capacity, 1,600 loads to 1,200 trucks. And then Charlotte is outbound, 4,400 trucks to 12,000 loads. So moderately loose. That's a good sign out there if you're a driver in Charlotte, North Carolina with a reefer. There's a lot of loads and not a lot of trucks. So what does that mean? More money for you. So yeah, look, if I was looking at that long term from a brokerage perspective, outbound Charlotte, that is one of those markets that your pricing is going to need to be increased if you are going to stay competitive, if you are playing in the spot market. Obviously, if you have contracted rates, honor your contracts no matter what, because if you won't, I will. And other brokers out there will as well. And same thing with Des Moines. It's kind of a one-to-one situation right now as a whole. So that one would be one where I would want to hold firm on my pricing on that. So that's just a little market report that I'll do out there every time we do solo shows. I try and do that, you guys, because again, I'm out here fighting this fight with you as well. I'm building my brokerage. I'm building my businesses. I'm actually doing this stuff. I'm not sitting on the sidelines anymore. I've been in this industry for a very long time and I'm going for it. Also, as always, if your company is hiring, put that information in the comments right now. Tag yourself out there so that gets out there. If you're looking for a job, connect with people on this. I am hiring for a sales rep right now, Freight Coach Logistics. If you want to come and work with me directly, hit me up, you guys. Freight Coach Logistics is hiring for sales reps right now. We're going to be aggressive and we are going to make this fucking industry better. All right. I have arguably the greatest training program ready for you. I've been investing a lot of time into building out this. So I'm all about developing people. And I have, in my opinion, the greatest training for anybody who comes and works with me over at Freight Coach Logistics. And again, if your company is hiring right now, put that information out there. If you're looking for a job, put that information out there. My man, Sonny Sharma, Zems is hiring for sales reps and operations. I personally work with Sonny. He's a client of mine at Broker Carrier, and he's a great dude as well. So I would definitely want to look into working with him if I was somebody out there looking for a job as well. Michael, what's up? Good morning to you. Caroline Lyle, what's up? Happy Monday. I'm going to be with her next week out in DC, you guys. I'll be doing my live show from the NMFTA conference on Monday and Tuesday in Washington, DC. If you're going to be at that conference, you want to jump on the live show, hit your boy up. I know a guy who can get you on the air with me. I'm just kidding. Sorry, dad joke. I'll stop. All right, let's get into some articles right now. There was a breaking news this morning. Warner acquired Reed TMS Logistics in a $112 million deal. This article came out from FreightWaves. I literally just had it hit my inbox, so I wasn't planning on talking about this, so I haven't even looked at this article yet. But yeah, Tampa, Florida broker generated $372 million out there, and they announced that they had acquired them for $112.4 million, and the deal also included a small dedicated carrier. The purchase price includes a maximum earnout of $7.5 million, depending on 2023 results. Let me see here. 90% of the revenue combined portfolio comes from truckload and freight brokerage platform, which has 70,000 carriers, 19,000 of which considered are active. So they have 50,000 carriers that are inactive in their system. Is that how? Anyways, the company has grown 28% compounded annual growth rate over the last 5 years. And founded in 1996, Reed has 800 customers, 2/3 are within food and beverage. Its top 10 accounts have been active with the broker for an average of 8 years. And brokered revenue on this platform is 65% contractual with 35% spot market. And a margin profile for the company was not provided. Warner Logistics segment generated $765 million in revenue with a 5.2% adjusted gross operating margin out there. And Reed TMS further strengthens our freight brokerage capabilities, Derek Weathers said, and Reed will elevate our logistics portfolio with new customers. And Reed will remain a standalone operation with its leadership team, driver and non-driver employees continuing to operate under the current banner. And this is the fourth deal that Warner has completed since Leathers took over as chairman. And yeah, Warner enables us to achieve our key goals, creating better order. Okay. So yeah, you guys, that article, breaking news that Reed TMS was acquired by Warner. They will remain standalone as a whole. That article came out of FreightWaves. Dan Penrod, what's up, brother? Good morning to you. Yeah, that's a pretty big one. Because yeah, that's a pretty decent sized brokerage getting bought up there. And again, I don't know, strategic partnership, whatever that looks like, only time will tell. Next article, this is the one that I'm very, very, very excited to see. ttnews.com, supply chain woes, accelerated reshoring and nearshoring trend, which I will always advocate for made in America products, bringing jobs back to America and everything else. Again, we're the greatest nation on earth, you guys, and I will not hide behind that at all. This is talking about how what the impact of COVID-19 has done while the pandemic continues. Let me see here. Rosemary Coates, an executive director of the Reshoring Institute, said that the chaos it created awakened companies to the fact of the risk that we were dealing with out there, not filling orders or losing supplier with no backup, seeing others or sourcing constraints that were not there before. She said, describing some of the challenges, all of a sudden, supply chains became a much bigger decision with a lot more variables and new risks. China is no longer the lowest cost sourcing option for U.S., Coates said. One alternative she's seen is companies adopting a China plus one or two strategy. In this approach, companies are moving some production and sourcing from China to other Asian countries such as Vietnam, Malaysia, or Thailand at up to a third of the costs. A variation of the theme includes companies relocating manufacturing from Asia and sourcing its along the U.S. and Mexico border. Chinese companies are there by the hundreds. She said plants popping up on the U.S.-Mexico border and even Mexico's interior. For U.S. businesses, Mexico-based sourcing and production also has tariffs advantage. Goods coming directly from China are subject to a 25% tariff. So if you manufacture in Mexico instead of China, you get 25% savings on cost. And these goods also benefit from the advantageous duty treatment under the U.S.-Mexico-Canada agreement. And then also, think about this. You don't have a potential backup at a port. You don't have a strike at a port that could increase dwell times and everything else. I mean, transit time alone, you can get a good produced today in Mexico and have it here in the United States tomorrow, depending obviously on the geographic location and backups at the border or anything else that you might find. But it's a lot more efficient shipping process as a whole. And there are also the examples of bringing manufacturing back to the United States, which I want to see a lot more of. But it talked about a major coffee retailer decided to procure ceramic coffee cups. It once sourced overseas and brought it to a factory in Ohio. And then another one was they brought it and chose to build their factory out in Dallas near the airport. And instead of expanding production over in China, they brought it back to the United States. So that's a great sign that we're seeing as a whole. Again, we need more jobs back here. We need all of this stuff. We need to strengthen this. Again, like I talk about a lot, we should never be dependent upon anybody but ourselves. And then we should trade because we can, not because we have to. Again, I'm a firm believer in having us take care of our own selves first before we take care of anybody else. I feel like if you break it down to your home level, you're not going to give away your meal to somebody else if your kids are going to go hungry with it. I think that's what we need to see here. I think that would also help with other major economic issues that we're dealing with right now. It's just bringing the price at the pump as a prime example, as we bring up the price of diesel every single day on here. If we didn't cancel all of our own drilling, probably wouldn't be in this situation. Again, I'm not an economist. I went to public school, but I can add. And yeah, anyways, rebalancing in the supply chain. John Jansen, Senior Director of Global Logistics for custom apparel maker Sanmar, said the pandemic exposed so many potholes out there. They operate in 25 countries. As a whole, the company made decisions several years ago to diversify its supply chain in a bid to minimize disruption, cut costs, and improve speed to market. There was not enough labor to support the amount of product we needed in the U.S. And said it has a plant in Tennessee that produces the company's made in USA brands, yet its biggest production facility is in Honduras. As nearshoring example, Sanmar sends raw materials such as yarn from the U.S. to Honduras, where it's turned into apparel and re-imported back in. It's just like, well, that's just what's crazy is when you think about that. Like, they're sending their raw materials to another country. They're paying taxes on all of that, and it's still cheaper as a whole. Again, I just think that it's going to bring more opportunity back here as a whole with a lot of the disruptions that were caused. It's going to bring more jobs back into here. I'm convinced of the fact that there's going to be an even greater push for made in America products and in the coming years than we've probably ever seen. I know what it was all about when I was growing up in the 80s and the 90s. It was, you're fucking proud as hell to have made in American products and everything. There's been a deviation away from that, but I see that coming back. I know my own personal consumer behavior. I will always buy American made goods over none any day. I will gladly pay for it here because I believe in supporting local. As a small business owner, I believe in supporting other small business owners to keep people in business. Because like I alluded to at the earlier part of the show, I'm all about keeping people in business, and you'll never hear me say that you should think about selling, because I think that's a slap in the face to anybody out there who's fighting every single day is just to give up. Fuck that shit. That's not our mentality here. We're all about keeping people in business. Anyways, that was a little off topic, but that article was from ttnews.com. You guys, supply chain woes accelerated, reshoring and nearshoring trend. Bring those jobs back to America, baby. Let me see here. As always, you guys, every article that I break down, I will put the links up on the YouTube channel, the Freight Coach, as well as the Coffee with the Freight Coach audio only replay of this. And if you're going to go over to those other platforms, if you do your boy a solid, and share the show, I would appreciate that. Hit that little subscribe button while you're there as well. It just helps us continue to expand this out, you guys. And then also, if you're a driver out on the road right now and you want to jump on, hit me up too. I'd love to talk to you guys. Next article, we are going to talk of JOC.com. U.S. trucking jobs rebounded to an all-time high in October. U.S. trucking employment rebounded in October to a new record after an abrupt and steep drop in September as total transportation and warehousing employment increased from both the prior month and year over year. October's trucking employment level of 1.614 million jobs surpassed the previous all-time peak set in August. A stronger than expected increase in trucking jobs last month included all workers, but mostly truck drivers, points to continuing freight demand. Trucking gained 19,800 unadjusted jobs in October, a 1.2% month over month, recovering from a 17,800 job loss in September. Year over year, trucking employment was up by about 68,000 jobs, a 4.4% increase, according to preliminary data released by the Bureau of Labor and Statistics. The large drop in employment in September and October's large gain were not typical. Usually, any loss or gain in employment in these months is much smaller, according to data. Trucking employment typically rises in the fall, reaching annual peaks in November before falling back in December. Courier and messenger firms, which include local e-commerce delivery companies, added 21,000 unadjusted jobs after a 12,300 job gain in September. The leap in trucking employment pushed JOC's employment, for trucking employment index rating to 105.9 in October, up from 104.6 the previous month, and above the 105.8 reading in August. And that is the highest reading ever for the index, and shows that the current for trucking employment, approximately 1.6 million workers, is 5.9% higher than fourth quarter of 2018. It's a great sign. It's a great sign that the job market in trucking is strong. To me, it's the greatest industry on earth. It's always going to be the greatest industry on earth. It's the backbone of the United States economy. And I love seeing this. I love seeing jobs increase because, again, it's like, I think it was last week, and you can fact check me on this because I don't remember right now at the top of my head. I broke down about new authorities that are being granted and everything as well out here, where, it is a greater tie to the market as a whole. Yes, there are some volatility. Yes, there are some changes, but freight's still moving. And there is never a better time than today to make the decision to go all in and go for it. Yeah, you have a little bit of a different way of looking at things in today's economic climate, but just start. Starting is always going to be the hardest part, you guys. No matter what, starting is always going to be the hardest part. And if you truly want it as bad as you say you do, you'll find a way no matter what. But, it's great to see jobs increase. All right. It's always great, especially in trucking. That gives hope out there for people who, if you've been in this industry for a long time, I'm convinced you'll always have a job if you have experience in trucking. But, a growth in employment is always a good sign. It speaks to the overall freight volume as a whole that is moving out there. Warehousing is still shipping. We're still importing. There's still stuff showing up on the shelves right now. And it's all because of our hardworking men and women of this industry. Shout out to everybody out there who makes this industry fucking happen day in and day out. The people who are out there loading the trucks, driving the trucks, doing all that, maintaining the trucks, everything, offloading them, you name it. It's fucking great to be a part of this industry. And it's great to see some good news coming in that we're still hiring and jobs are being added out there. That article, you guys, was from JOC.com. U.S. trucking jobs rebounded to an all-time high in October. Erica Hamilton, what's up? Orange shirt gang. I love it. I had some people this weekend tag me in some posts that they were rocking orange shirts, and they said orange shirt gang. That's fucking sweet. It's a movement, you guys. I'm telling you, it's a movement. Orange shirt gang is a real thing, and it's awesome to see, you guys. It's awesome to see because, I literally started all this shit in my bedroom. All right. I started all this shit in my bedroom, and I started wearing an orange shirt as a way to stand out. And it's awesome to see what it's evolved into. And I love the support out there. John Radvansky, what's up? The rad man in North Texas. I love it. Good to see you out here, John. Third and final article that we're going to talk about today, you guys, is U.S. truck capacity shifting as spot rates drop. This one's also from the JOC. U.S. shippers are receiving mixed signals about truckload capacity as freight market heads into peak holiday season. On one hand, the CEOs of several large companies say small trucking firms are exiting the business at record numbers. However, other data suggests trucking capacity is expanding, not shrinking. Derek Leathers from Warner had said over the last 4 weeks, we've seen a very sudden notable increase in those deactivations. You're seeing 3,500 to 4,000 trucks a week net coming out of the market. We believe we are in the early stage of a capacity correction, said Mark Rourke, of the CEO of Schneider. And it's our assessment that a meaningful portion of the spot market has dropped below the break-even points for carriers. The question is, what segment or segments of the market are losing capacity and which are gaining trucks and perhaps drivers? It's a net loss of capacity occurring, or is it this ongoing shift of capacity away from the transactional spot market to a much larger and still higher price contract market? Contract and spot are different marketplaces with different types of carriers and different ideologies, said Jeff Tucker. He's the CEO of Tucker Company Worldwide and qualifiedcarrier.com. Volume on the spot market has dramatically declined because the contract market has held in there. As always, our contract customers are still giving us the volumes they were giving us before. Tucker had said, and obviously, you guys, the spot market exists because people reject contracted loads. And obviously, there's newer lanes that are going out there in the market. You will see customers throw it out there on the spot market first because they don't know the contract, what the rate is. And, again, what I've seen in my career is they'll throw it out there on the spot market for a little bit of time, and then they will pull that back and look to contract that and have a stable rate that's out there. Let me see. I'm just skimming here. And the spot market is an increasingly small part of the whole trucking market where capacity is becoming abundant. The transportation capacity index rose 1.3 percentage points from September to October, hitting 73.1, an all-time high for this reading. Any reading over 50 is the LMI indexes shows growth. And even during the freight recession of 2019, we did not observe capacity coming online this quickly. Let me see here. And then more carriers on the books. Sorry, I'm just going over this here. What's the total number? All right. Data from the FMCSA's analysis and information website shows the number of registered trucking firms, including one truck operators, rose 11.4% from last December through September, reaching 503,354 interstate freight carriers of all sizes. That's a surprisingly strong increase, and the FMCSA number may include trucking companies that have had their authorities deactivated. But an audit of that by qualifiedcarriers.com, which counts only those carriers and active operating authorities and proof of insurance on file, shows there were 1,418 more active carriers in total in the books in September than at the start of 2022. He puts that number at 361,000 active for-hire trucking companies that are out there. The focus on revocations is implicitly assuming that there's a decline in capacity when it probably represents more of a shift in capacity, Jason Miller said. And I think that we're seeing more of a repeat of 2019 where we saw a ton of failures, but we also saw a lot of new entries and reallocation of drivers across firms, which means capacity isn't actually exiting as rapidly thought, which is always a great thing, because again, that means that people are staying in business, and that's what we want out there. I'm not ever going to sit here and say that the market isn't shifting and everything else, but I think as 2023 hits us head on here fairly soon, really start to think about what lanes are you going to run, and what regions can you stay in if you're a smaller carrier, and almost getting that reliability of the volatility, or removing the volatility of the spot market or minimizing it significantly, and knowing what your costs are and really doubling down on that. I think it's, there's a lot of opportunity that is going to continue to be out there. So with a lot of the information that you're seeing out there, with a lot of capacity, the spot rates are what they are. Find the consistency in that price that's out there. All right. Find that consistency. Find that consistent lane, find the ones that work out for you the most, and stay with them. Focus on building those relationships. Don't pay attention to those brokers who are posting for $1 a mile. Fuck those guys. As a broker, I will say that if they're out there doing that, don't even pay attention to them. go on to the next one. But again, find that consistency. I think that's going to be key as Q1 hits and we see the decline in the market really kind of take hold. And when I say decline, freight volumes historically drop during that time because consumer spending slows due to the holidays and everything else. And you'll see that, and then there'll be a slight rebound that's out there. So find that consistency in your book of business if you're a small fleet right now. Find that consistency and double down and see if you can lock in some long-term pricing, especially if it's working for you, because you'll see another shift in rates here coming up. So if you can lock in, rates for the next 90 days or 120 days, I think it'll be very advantageous for you going in out there. That last article, joc.com, U.S. truck capacity shifting to spot rates drop. But that's it for today, you guys. The Freight Coach Morning Show. We are the top morning show in transportation, coming to you live every single weekday, 8:30 a.m. Pacific, 10:30 Central, to break down some industry headlines and to provide some insight. And as always, if you guys saw value in this, share the show. That's all I can ask at the end of the day, you guys, because if you see value in it, your network's going to see value in it as well. I appreciate you guys all so much. I love you guys, and we'll be talking to you soon.